All right. Waiting a bit to allow more people to join us on both the live stream and on Zoom. Well, let's go ahead and open up today's session with reciting the prayer for spiritual workers, and then we'll move into our Q&A session. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. All right, welcome everyone to Open Discussion and Various Topics, class number 118. As per usual, feel free to post your questions in the chat if you're joining us via YouTube. If you're joining us via Zoom, you can also use the raise hand feature. And you can ask your question audibly, or you can also use the chat as well, whichever you prefer. Later on, we will continue our survey of the Metaphysics 101 series. Yes, Jacob, I saw your hand. Go ahead and ask your question. Jacob, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I'm curious, you've done these metaphysical studies and right, what you've gone through. At the end of it, now, are you totally free of all mental, emotional disturbances? Fear, anxiety, sorrow, envy, greed, jealousy? Do you feel connected to all beings? Do you treat everyone the same care, love, and affection?
Are you asking me or the teacher?
I don't know. Is there a teacher in the room?
Yes, that's Mr. Nehemiah Davis. He's the actual teacher of the International Mystic Knowledge Center.
The other person? Nehemiah? Is that who you're referring to?
Hello, Jacob. How you doing?
Hi.
All of us are on a journey. This is I offer these teachings for the last 30 years.
30 years.
Because I was raised in these teachings in the yogic philosophy. So I offer them to a broader audience, so that people can be aware of them, especially on the western part of the world. These are We give life lessons. We give the 12 yogas, because yoga is just not exercises. Yoga actually means to make union with God in various ways. And it does help you to not be a slave to your emotions, what we call them impurity traits that we picked up over lifetimes. And yoga teaches you to detach yourself from these impurity traits and move towards a more karmically balanced way of life. And karmically balanced mean that within all of us, we know what's right. We just move towards our desires and likes instead of predetermining our actions in order to bring about the right result. So that everyone, so that ourselves and everyone around us can benefit. But when you have these impurity traits within you, you tend to lean towards the impurity traits and not lean towards what you know. You, meaning the soul, the spirit, the higher part of you, know what's right and what would be right for your environment and the people around you.
Do you have these impurity traits that you refer to?
Of course,
Do you
everyone.
have any?
Everyone does.
So after 30
But
years,
you have to be able.
wait. So after 30 years, they haven't still come to an end. You're still a slave.
No,
what you're telling me?
no. I wouldn't say I'm a slave to all of them. I would say that I've conquered.
If you're a slave to one, you're a slave to all.
No, not necessarily. No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not a killer.
Okay, but
I'm
anyway, I
not
don't
a
want to argue with
liar.
you.
I'm not one that's.
I'm interested in one action that will set any human being, no matter who they are,
It doesn't work.
starting with the children, totally
It
free.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
Well, you mean you haven't found it?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Well, you don't know.
Science tell you that.
No, you can only say, in my
Science,
experience, I have not come
science
upon
tell
that.
you.
That's all you can say.
Science tell you that. That's not, that's not even logical. That's,
The scientists are filled with impurities.
Of course, everyone is.
Okay, so therefore they are part of the confused. They are part of ignorance, darkness.
But you
can't listen to them.
You can move above it. Science is only the study of God's creation. That's all it is. And it's on a journey too. But little by little, you can begin to control things, and you control things.
Who is the controller?
Intelligence. Through intelligence. Once you
is
learn,
there intelligence?
As
long as there are these mental afflictions,
once you learn,
who's learning?
You. Let's say,
yeah, who is you?
And mankind, you.
After 30 years, who is you? Who are you? Who is the I, the me, the self, the consciousness, the psyche, the mind?
I am a divine spark of God, the same way you are.
By your own admission, you said you have
the same way you
impurities.
Are. Of course,
is the divine spark? Does the divine spark have impurities?
Wrapped in density. We wrap in this hard substance that we have to take control of. So I mean, I'm not here to go
who
back.
Who is the controller?
Look,
if you were the divine, you'd have no impurities.
No,
you're not the divine.
Not so you are the divine too. You are.
No, if anyone were the divine, there'd be no impurities.
You are a divine spark of God. That's the only way you have consciousness. That's the only way anyone has.
Where there's darkness, is there light?
Of course it is.
Does darkness have fellowship with light? Does illusion, hallucination, mirage have anything to do with the truth?
Yes,
there's no relationship.
Yes, it does.
There's no connection.
There's a relationship.
One has no truth in it. It's an illusion. There's nothing there.
It's just your perception. There's a relationship with everything.
As long as there is impurities, there's no perception.
Yes,
You're not perceiving me. You're not perceiving anything. Because the impurities limit, shape, color all your perceptions.
That doesn't make sense. When you get in your car today, it's just like over this computer. The only reason why we can communicate with each other is because someone
Are we
found
communicating?
a series of connections that work, that
Are
allows
we
you to
communicating?
screen,
Or
that
there's an
allows you to
assumption that we're
screen, that
communicating.
allows you to screen your voice, your thoughts over this. The same way when you go to a car and you put a key into the ignition, or you press a button, a series of actions work. It work together in order to produce a result.
Anyway,
In order to produce a result.
I don't want to argue with you or anything,
That's
but you've answered my question.
That's
I'm looking
predetermining your life.
for a place where they have already been liberated, right? Not they're on the journey, they're going to take time, another 30 years, another 70 years, another lifetime, many lifetimes. I'm interested in the children at the earliest age being set free, right? So that they don't waste their whole life with these impurities, as you call them, which breed conflict, violence, and suffering, and all the mental, emotional disturbances, which prevent relationship and perception. So,
Well, continue your journey, because I mean, if you can't accept what's before you, then you have lost already.
well, it doesn't work by your own admission. What you're doing doesn't work.
You
30
know,
years, my God, oh Lord. 30 years. Think about it. Just sit
30
there and think
years,
about it. 30
30 years
years
is less than a
wasted.
second in eternity. 30 years is less than a second within eternity. So, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Let's move on, Dwayne.
That's just an idea that you gain comfort from. That's all. The time is now. Time is an illusion. The time is now. And you're taking time. The me is time. The me says, not now. Let me think about it. Let me do meditation, yoga, say a prayer, right? That's the movement of time. And time is blocking this thing from taking place now, right? See the truth of what I'm saying. Look what the me is doing to you, leading you down this path. A path. Path is time. Method is time. Technique is time. Practice is
Dwayne,
time.
let's move on.
Okay.
Let's move on, Dwayne.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Any questions? Any other comments? Mhm. As a reminder, as we wait for more questions to come in, as a reminder, you can see on your screen, this is the Metaphysics 101 playlist. And we're looking at these two classes, class 1 and 2. We're reviewing those two classes, and then we will continue looking at others. So if you go to the Mystic Knowledge YouTube channel and click on playlist, and then you'll scroll down and see this was given back in 2012, or was up to. So this is the Metaphysics 101 series, and after this we will cover a couple others. We're currently working our way through class 1, and then we'll move into class 2. Do a survey of it, like I do want to invite everyone to go back and study or review this material. It will help you to, and Dr. George King said, develop your discrimination and become better students in yoga, metaphysics, and your spiritual development. Right. Do we have any questions, comments? All right, well, if there's no questions, then let's continue with the Mystic Constitution of Man text. So last time we covered the soul, and prior to that, we covered spirit. And as we're moving along in the involutional process, we're going to take a look at the auric body. Because remember, we're following along with the Metaphysics 101 Class 1 lecture. I was thinking, because there's a lot to cover, I think we'll go over the next several classes, looking at the auric body and the various bodies that make up the auric unit. And we'll just go right into the material as opposed to going over the transcripts. I do want to invite and keep urging everyone to go back and review those videos, those 2 lectures, and then come back with your questions and your comments. So even though if you get the videos about an hour and a half, some 2 hours long, you can have them playing in the background as kind of in a podcast type format, or sit down and watch them on the weekend. Take down your questions, and your questions can be from anywhere, subject anywhere in those 2 videos. So even though we're looking at, say, the auric body now, and we'll continue with the auric body for several weeks. If you have a question about any subject that is touched in the Metaphysics 101 series or any of the videos, then feel free to ask them, and we'll do our best to answer those for you. I also have some diagrams queued up to help us illustrate the information that is presented in the book, in the text. And so we'll go back and forth between the 2, give us a better understanding of the material. And again, if we have any questions from what we're looking at, then we can, you can pose them, hopefully get those answered. Now, the diagrams and the text are not currently in the shared folder. That's because this is one of the books that Nehemiah is authoring. And when it is ready, then it'll be published. But we're just going through certain parts of it to help us with the Metaphysics 101 series. And some of the diagrams as well. Some of them are works in progress, so they're not currently up in the shared folder. So when they're available, when the book is available and the diagrams are available, I will let you know, and I'll as well post them in the shared folder. So before we go into chapter 3, I want to read from the diagram referring to the 4 Shakti principles of creation. This will go along with what we looked at 2 weeks ago: spirit, soul, and we're going to go in today, because in the lecture, I think I'll read that as well. In the lecture, Nehemiah talks about karmic signatures. And so to understand those karmic signatures that he's referring to, he defines it in the lecture, but he goes into greater detail here in this paragraph. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't see it. Let me switch to it. Can you see that now? The 4 Shakti principles of creation. Yes. Okay. So in that 4 Shakti, in these diagrams, it goes into the karmic signatures and gives some illustration to help us better understand that term and why he uses that term when referring to that involutional process when the soul starts building a body for itself, which is the organ. Actually, let me read it let me read from the transcript. And then we will go into the diagram and then go into the text. Sorry to bouncing around like that. And so here is the text. All right. So we looked at spirit and soul last time. So we're going to pick up with the soul. So the soul moves forward and begins to create other vehicles of expression, because the soul realizes the primary expressed will of God through spirit is to involve itself, is to bring about evolution, so that once again it can bring about evolution. It goes through involution in order to produce evolution. That's the primary expressed will of God. And that's what the soul begins to do. The soul realizes the Shakti, which is all power in the universe, the Shakti power. It gathers this Shakti power in order to build the necessary bodies for its expression through involution and evolution. I told you that in the Shakti power, because the Shakti power is universal power, we said that many times it's a universal source of power. So in the Shakti power has karmic principles. Sorry, he also says karmic principles. That is a karmic signature, same thing, but he uses karmic principles. I call them karmic principles. These karmic principles of Shakti is to say in simple terms, is Shakti as mind, Shakti as prana, Shakti as Vyana, which is wisdom, and Shakti as love or Ananda. So these are the karmic principles of Shakti, and these karmic principles create the necessary pressure or framework that Shakti will work under. These are the divine karmic principles. It creates the soul creates the principle in which Shakti will work in, the karmic principles in which the karmic principles, it's the pressure in which Shakti will work in. The soul realizes this, so the soul takes this Shakti and pushes it down this thing we call Sushumna. So now we're dealing specifically with the human makeup. Although there is a universal Sushumna, a cosmic Sushumna, a galactic Sushumna, a solar Sushumna, and each living being has a Sushumna within it, but we're only going to deal with the human makeup. The Sushumna we're talking about that we can look at a makeup is in the spinal column. And in our makeup, that's what we're talking about. The spinal column is this Brahmic line of force that the soul gathered this Shakti power and molds it and pushes it down this line of force, this Brahmic line of force, creating the crown chakra area, the golden sphere, and it pushes this Sushumna, and okay. At this part of the lecture, he's drawing Shakti and the Sushumna and the Brahmic line of force, and he's pointing to it as he's describing this. Remember, this is a transcript taken verbatim from the lecture, so although it may sound a little confusing, when you go back and watch the lecture, it'll make sense, because this is actually, you'll have the audio and the video to go along with it. Now, Sushumna is his Brahmic line of force. It's the perfect vacuum. Because it becomes pure, all the impurities are gone. It's not there. It's pure Shakti. It's a pure energy of God. It's this pure source. So it, soul, pushes this Shakti all the way down, and this Shakti is compressed by 3 layers of Sushumna that this energy goes down in, and it creates this great pressure and velocity in pushing it down. It takes the essence of all this, untouched, and pushes it down because it becomes a vehicle of consciousness for the soul, because up to now, the soul has no real vehicle of consciousness. It is above consciousness. It has this vast awareness of itself. And the soul, in order to bring about involution, it needs to bring about a state of consciousness. Now we got to understand what this means. Consciousness is what? It's limitation. Consciousness is limitation. So this vast awareness the soul has, it cannot truly go into a true state in involution. So it has to bring about a different state of consciousness in order to bring about the limitations, because involution is bringing about limitation. So I'll stop there with the transcript. Now we'll move into the 4 Shakti principles of creation. To go more in depth with these karmic principles. And we'll also start our examination of, in more depth, the process I was describing in that part of the lecture. So the 4 Shakti principles of creation. The first Shakti principle, or karmic principle as referred to in the lecture, is Vyana Shakti. This intelligent pattern represents, can you guys see that clearly? This intelligent pattern represents a matrix that predetermines all possible movements. Any movement within this pattern creates a direct and indirect pressure. It also creates the surrounding pressures on moving objects as well, thereby creating a calculated space for movement. Intelligence is the ability to predetermine any and all actions on all realms of existence. The first Shakti principle is the universal karmic signature for embedded intelligent patterns for multiple courses of movement in any directions, while still bubbling up a pressurized focus from your cycles of experience to propel you, the soul, back to the divine source, the absolute. This Vyana Shakti principle marks and dictates the intelligent patterns for all movement in every aspect of life. The intelligent patterns of Vyana represents the karmic framework of divine laws that conforms all action back to the absolute of the Godhead. Right? The second Shakti principle, Chitta Shakti. This Chitta Shakti the Chitta mental matrix represents a grid that holds energy patterns together, subtle matter together, etheric matter together, astral matter together, and gross matter together. Any form on any realm of existence needs and requires a mental grid or matrix. The second Shakti principle is the universal mental patterns that is used to shape and mold energy patterns, subtle forms of matter, and gross forms of matter into multiple expressions of life forms from the micro to macro levels whether it's an inanimate life form or animate life form. This universal mind chitta substance molds, shapes, and holds together all energies in any form of existence. No form of energy can move in operation without the Shakti principle chitta, universal mind. The third Shakti principle, prana Shakti. This pattern represents a grid that holds 5 major energy patterns together while traveling in the same direction. This third Shakti principle travels on the highest levels of frequency of creation, only to change its pattern of operation when moving on to subtle realms of matter, known as the etheric material realms, astral material realms, and the physical material realms. In the movement of these energies are held together by dhyana intelligent patterns and the chitta mental abilities to mold, shape, and hold material form together. Any form on any realm of existence needs and requires a mental grid or matrix to move into operation. The third Shakti principle is the universal, all-pervasive cosmic energies used to empower all life from the smallest subtle atomic particles of the atoms and its configuration, the cellular molecules that build tissues and organ systems of all life, whether it's the mineral life, plant life, insect, fish, animal life, human life, and beyond. This third Shakti principle assists in supporting energies that create movement. The fourth Shakti principle, Amanda Shakti. This configuration represents power of universal preservation over all creation. It is the greatest energy in this manifested creation. It is the power that carries all life forms through its cycles of life experience. This fourth Shakti principle, Amanda, is a love energy with several unique qualities. A preservational power that protects all things and life in cycles of experience. It creates a screen of protection during cycles of experience. It has the ability to pull on the endless potential of God's power. The fourth Shakti principle is the universal power of preservation. This is perhaps the greatest form of Shakti principle in the universe, being that it preserves the manifested creation during cycles of expression from the absolute source back to the absolute source. Or also referred to as love energy. Love energy maintains, excuse me, love energy maintains an unbreakable balance to the other Shakti principles, or major cosmic energies of the universe. The configuration of love energy allows it continuous access to the power that flows from the endless unmanifested potential of God's power. It is the love energy of God that never fails because of its constant link to the divine source. It is this love energy that will change or modify anything that tries to obstruct its forward movement of preserving the progressive evolution of the universe. Love energy's goal is to achieve the will of God through preserving the manifested journey of all life on all the realms of existence. Therefore, the love energy that is being spoken about here is an ultra-positive energy force that demands a progressive forward movement under the direct compounded pressures of karmic laws. The preservative power of love energy is offered to every life form in the universe. It is a power that does not discriminate, and it preserves all things in accordance to the divine laws of karma, which represents the expressed will of God. Okay. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I want to say, Dwayne, that when you go back to the ancient Sanskrit teachings, they describe amana, the fourth principle, as bliss or grace. But when you study it, you'll see that they're talking about a preservative energy. So, because when they describe it, it's described as an energy that preserves. In the ancient teachings, they say we live by the grace of God.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that's describing a energy, a preservation of energy, which is another thing, which is a female energy, just the same way when they describe nature
Mm-hmm.
as a female energy, because it preserves.
Any questions? Let me look at the chat. No? All right. So let's pick up with the Mystic Constitution of Man text, looking at chapter 3, the auric body of the soul. And throughout this reading, we will move back and forth between the diagrams, additional diagrams, to help us better understand material. Okay. Chapter 3, the auric body of the soul. The subtle auric bodies, or unit, is a series of subtle magnetic fields that exist on the etheric, astral, and subtle gross physical levels. These auric magnetic fields of substance are designed to hold the patterns of consciousness for the soul. It has the ability to receive and transfer mental intelligence to the various aspects of consciousness within the auric fields of operations. Also, these auric magnetic fields are designed to hold in place the signature patterns of various degrees of subtle vital energies in time cycles. It is also capable of receiving and transferring patterns of subtle vital energy configurations as well. The auric body acts as the manifested pool of endless potential that the soul has set up to pull down the universal mind substance and Shakti power in order to modify it into vehicles of expression. The auric body is used by the soul as a vehicle or tool in order to create the background patterns for building the correct proportion, subtle or gross vehicles of expression with the exact karmic framework for the countless experience cycles needed. In other words, the auric body or bodies is manifested to operate on all planes of existence. Now, this means that the auric body is in full operation on every level of consciousness or realms throughout the 108 chakras within the human structure. I say this to point out that every chakra is not only a level of consciousness or vortex center of power, but a total realm of existence. The auric body is locked into all these vortex centers of power, chakras, that are also realms of existence, and also represents levels of consciousness. Such complexity is almost incomprehensible. The soul builds this auric body of substance by pulling on the Nada Shakti powers of the universe and configuring it through the universal, solar, and planetary mind and pranas energies projected mainly by the Mahabindus of this solar system. Each major planetary body in the solar system releases or projects a certain quality of mind energies and vital energies. The main flow of these subtle energies comes from the primary Mahabindu of our solar system, the mighty sun, a massive compaction of potential creative energies. The sun radiates out large quantities of subtle energies. These subtle energies are absorbed by the planetary bodies, other Mahabindus of the solar system, and reconfigured, then pushed back out these energies into the solar system, conditioned to be an added value to the light streams residing throughout the system. The auric bodies are the manifested energy patterns produced by the soul, configuring the original flow of Shakti consciousness into Kundalini. The nadis and the nadi knot configurations to produce the vehicles of consciousness and source of power for the vehicles of expression or consciousness. This part of man's existence is formulated by the soul to exist on all levels of consciousness simultaneously, while carrying the multiple layers of manifested consciousness throughout the ages, from one life to the next through countless reincarnations. We are taught that the auric body is that part of the soul's vehicle of expression that is virtually indestructible and holds consciousness and accumulated experiences throughout the intelligence's countless reincarnations. One second. So I was trying to find looking for the diagrams. You might illustrate what we just read in the modification of Shakti power as moving through different Mahabindus. Wait, here it is. This picture. One second, right there. Just saw it.
Which one you looking for?
I just
The most recent one or the old?
I found this one. Zoom out.
It's in the book.
This is in the collection of diagrams.
Okay.
So it's given an idea, illustration of what those couple of paragraphs we just read, and the modification of that Shakti power. So you hear again, we have the Shiva, the unmanifested, and we have the Shakti, which comes from the Shiva, released as Vak. And then you have these four Shakti principles we just looked at, Dana, Chitta, Prana, and Manda, which make up the Mahabhutas, the cosmic elements. And those five cosmic elements, which were those energy patterns we looked at in the four Shakti principles handout. And then those energies, those cosmic elements, look down here. Let's read this. Let's decide here. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. So we have Shiva, framework of karmic law, comes in Nada Shakti, and the Shakti principles, the Mahabhutas, the Nada, Chitta, Bhuta, four Shakti principles, and the topic rays from the central sun of the galaxy goes into the, well, we'll use our solar system as an example, taken in by the sun. The sun modifies that energy and then propagates back out throughout the solar system, i.e. that solar plasmic field. It is then taken in by the planets. Again, since we're referring to our existence as a help us in the study, refer to the moon and to the Mother Earth. The Mother Earth takes in that solar tattvic energy, conditions it, releases it out for the benefit of the life streams that dwell upon her, ourselves. And we also receive some of the modified solar tattvic energy from the moon that helps our existence as well. So we come here, we have the Shiva, Nada Shakti, Shakti principles, Bhutas, allows the formation and the access to the realms of existence and consciousness, i.e. the 108 chakras, which results into a planetary nodic flow of energies, 49 planetary vortex centers that produce multi-layers realms of existence, which leads to multi-levels of consciousness on the mineral, plant, animal, human levels of mental, subtle, and gross existence. The tattvic ray formation at this level, at the solar system level, produces the following energy combinations: the chakra petals, vision of samskaras, sounds of the soul, manas, chitta, right? We looked at as one of the four Shakti principles used by man. So when the chitta is touched by man, it becomes manas. Kundalini, the soul's vehicle of consciousness. Well, we didn't get to that yet in the text, well, that's coming up next. Nadis, a flow of energy projected from the power of Kundalini. Nadi Nat, nadis threaded through the petals, activating the chakras. The five major pranas, a positive vital flow of energies that sustain life. And the five minor pranas, negative vital flow of energies that help sustain life. The ojas, subtle vital life fluids, and the seven dhatus, the subtle body tissues. Right, so this is at our level of our being human terrestrial level of life. Okay. I just wanted to show that to illustrate what we just finished reading, those first couple of paragraphs. Let's continue on. Let us look at the auric body from a metaphysical point of view. The auric body is a series of magnetic fields of higher frequencies of energies configured to hold the soul's intelligence throughout countless incarnations. It's never going to go layer by layer. And first we come to the crown chakra auric layer. And it is the mind level energies for the crown chakra are levels of the auric magnetic field that operates from the soul's supra-conscious state of existence that has no definable limits for tapping into the universal mind belts for information. The manas of man is purified quality of mind, a sattvika guna, and amalgamates with the universal mind field of Chitta Shakti principle. Cosmic energies that play at the crown chakra, so at this level, all the energies are pure and works in a perfect balance because it has no manas distortion, astral or etheric distortion to work out. The soul is the true creator here and the great manipulator. The karmic pressures at play on the crown chakra, the soul's consciousness at this level has all the mental and vital energies balanced in a fashion that it operates strictly within the divine laws of karma in a very balanced fashion to bring about the correct reaction to every action. The soul operates and becomes the devata. The next is the Christ chakra or layer. And the mind level energies for the Christ chakra are this level of auric magnetic field operates as the command center network for the soul's intelligence. The command configurations of mental energies or sattvic manas layered in the auric body here is completely under the super conscious control of the soul. This layer of the auric body is the background power that dictates the limits of all the lower involved layers of the auric consciousness. And the cosmic energies of the Christ chakra. The cosmic energies at play here at the Christ chakra level, the magnetic auric fields of substance that operates as the command energetic forces throughout the body. The auric magnetic fields of the Christ chakra level becomes the background substance for the command center that works strictly under the directives of the divine laws of karma. And the Christ chakra level of karmic pressures within the auric fields at this level will be the instruments of the soul to use these divine pressures to create predetermined outcomes. Also, to aid the lower mental aspects of man to conform to the laws of karma. It is the auric field's karmic pressures that usher in involution, and it is the Ajna chakra karmic pressures that lead man's consciousness back to the Godhead. Next, we look at the throat chakra auric level and the mind level energies for the throat chakra. This layer of the auric body can be called the 360 mental energy configurations where the energies are extended down for the involution process, then projected up in order to annihilate the involved gross manifestation within consciousness. And the cosmic energies play at the level of the energy consciousness demonstrates that the power of a carrying agent for all aspects of these subtle energies pranas. It is also considered a filtering point for vital energies and the mental expression point. The karmic pressures at play. The karmic pressures of the auric fields at the throat chakra level works at two extremes. One, it is the purifying force for all energies that seek to move through its active fields. And two, it's where the soul allows the intelligence's consciousness to express on multiple levels or realms of existence. Excuse me real quick. Okay, the heart chakra auric layer. Mind level energies for the heart chakra. This level of the Sada layer is the auric body that brings meaning to the proposed involved operational systems. The meaning is demonstrated through the synchronized sonic vibrations configured to bring together mental and vital energies as a functioning system. cosmic energies at play within the heart chakra. These sonic vibrations that are at play within the heart chakra are and heavily influences the cosmic energies at the auric layers in the heart chakra as consonant seed mantras, bijas. The seed mantras help sustain life within the various subtle and gross bodies. It produces the pathway for the Vayu Bhutas and builds the systems that utilize the mind, prana, and air energies. The karmic pressures at play within the heart chakra. The heart chakra layer of the auric body produces karmic pressures that sustains life and carries life to the lower planes and back. It dictates the cycles of life on this level and the lower levels of consciousness beneath it, such as the karmic pressures. Okay, so we'll crown Christ. Okay. And so here is a table. Repeating the situation is formatted in a table format. Okay. I think that will so far it's not finished. I think that completes chapter 3. Yes.
Okay, that should be complete.
It's missing the solar, sex, and base sections.
I'll look completed one. There was another diagram that went with that, wasn't it?
Yes, there is the auric body training diagram. The source format, so I'm going to that one. And Kundalini power one. Kundalini power and sound signature power. I think I'll save the Kundalini power one for next time. And we'll look at the auric body one and the source format one. Those are a few pages. And then that'll round us out for today. Are there any questions, any comments? Look at the chat here. Questions? All right, let's look at these diagrams. We'll finish up with these. Now here's another look at the auric units or the auric body. The soul creates the auric body out of highly potent and concentrated Shakti power. It's designed to continuously pull on this great power by the positioning of the Bindu vortex centers. The Bindu vortex centers are the several major streams of consciousness, or the major chakras. The auric body is the traveling body for the soul. This auric body is virtually indestructible. It functions for eons as an instrument to aid in gaining experience cycles. The auric body becomes the primary vehicle of expression to gain experience through involution to evolution. The auric body becomes the initial atmosphere for all the aspects of the soul's vehicle of expression. This auric atmosphere is a source for etheric Mahabhuta's substance and the 5 major pranas. Tightly fitted into the auric body, you will find the following: the chakra system, as illustrated on the right, the Kundalini and Nadi system, the mental bodies, the minor auric fields or auric layers, the 5 major and minor pranas, the etheric bodies, the astral bodies, and the physical body. The subtle auric body or unit is a series of subtle magnetic fields that exist on the etheric, astral, and subtle gross physical levels. These auric magnetic fields of substance are designed to hold patterns of consciousness for the soul. It has the ability to receive and transfer mental intelligence to the various aspects of consciousness within the auric fields of operations. Also, these auric magnetic fields are designed to hold in place these signature patterns of various degrees of subtle vital energies within time cycles. It's also capable of receiving and transferring patterns of subtle vital energy configurations as well. The auric body acts as the manifested pool of Venus potential that the soul has set up to pull down the universal mind substance and Shakti power in order to modify it into vehicles of expression. The auric body is used by the soul as vehicle or tools in order to create the background patterns for building the correct proportion subtle or gross vehicles of expression with the exact karmic framework for the countless experience cycles needed. In other words, the auric body is manifested to operate on all planes of existence. Now, this means that the auric body is in full operation on every level of consciousness or realms throughout the 108 chakras within the human auric structure. I say this to point out that every chakra is not only level of consciousness or vortex center of power, but a total realm of existence. The auric body is locked into all these vortex centers of power, chakras, that are also realms of existence, and also represents levels of consciousness of such complexity is almost incomprehensible. The soul builds this auric body of substance by pulling on the Nada Shakti powers of the universe and configuring it through the universal solar and planetary mind and prana energies projected mainly by the Mahabindus of the solar system. Each major planetary body of the solar system releases or projects a certain quality of mind energies and vital energies. The main flow of these subtle energies comes from the primary Mahabindu of the solar system, the mighty sun, a massive compaction point of potential creative energies. Yeah, let me zoom into this illustration so it can be seen better. So here in this illustration, you see the spirit in the dotted line as unmanifested, soul manifested, and then the auric body and its layers contained within is the full auric unit. The sun radiates out large quantity of subtle energies. These subtle energies are absorbed by the planetary bodies of the Mavindos in the solar system, reconfigured, and then pushed these energies back out into the solar system, conditioned to be an added value to light streams throughout the solar system. And then we have here the outline of the mystic constitution, which is the spirit, which is the I am of man, this divine spark of God. The soul, the I of man, a manifested body for the spirit. The auric body, the travel body for the soul. The chakra signatures, dormant Shakti as a vehicle of consciousness. Nadi system, several 100,000 subtle pathways of energies that creates a geometric matrix within the auric bodies that promote layers of consciousness. 7 mental bodies, 4 levels of consciousness, which are the supraconscious mind, subconscious mind, and conscious mind. 8, the minor auric fields, auric substance of each expression. 9, the 5 major and minor pranas, formation of vital energies within the body. 10, etheric bodies, subtle bodies made from the upper chakras. 11, astral bodies, subtle bodies made from the lower chakras. And 12, physical body, the gross physical body. Any questions? All right. Now look at the source, formation, and activity of consciousness. So the source, formation, and activity of man's consciousness, we have, starts off with the absolute, or God's endless potential of power. We have complete silence, complete stillness, complete darkness with absolute potential. A background of unmanifested endless potential, which acts as a source and substance for all manifested creation. It is the all-knowledge space and the source of endless potential. It's absolute from that, and have the spirit, the all-knowledge space. And up in this area level here is the unmanifested existence. Unmanifested indicating it has no beginning and no end. It was always and will always be in existence. So from the spirit, we have this sphere here and here. This is the word, and then the soul, which is the vehicle for the spirit. And from this point onward is manifested existence. The soul then goes out to build a body for itself, and it is the auric unit represented here in these various layers, and the gross physical layer, or the physical body, represented in the center. So we have the subtle magnetic layers of the auric body, the body of the soul. One, you have the Nadic auric layer. Oh, sorry. 2, the mental auric layer. 3, the pranic auric layer. 4, the etheric auric layer. 5, the astral auric layer. 6, the bone marrow auric layer. Bone and bone marrow. 7, blood, tissue, organs auric layer, or the datus. And 8, the physical body and expression points of the auric layer. And then we move down from the crown to the base. well, the crowns up there. Then we have the Christ center, the commando center, is the Christ chakra. Then we have the throat chakra, the manifestation of life through the fourth aspect of consciousness at the throat, physical realm. And the heart chakra, the organization and utilization of the mind and vital energies to house the intelligent life in a series of subtle bodies. Right? That's in the heart chakra. And from the heart upward, those are the higher realms of consciousness. And from the solar plexus downward, we have the lower realms of consciousness. And at the solar plexus chakra, we have the major intake, exchange, and transference of power. And we also have the impurity traits embedded within the auric layer, which express themselves here and here. The solar plexus, which is encompass selfishness, fear, envy, lust, laziness, obsession, deceit, revenge, guilt, and cravings. At the sex center, we have the seat of self-consciousness, and expressing itself there, the impurity traits, pride, attachment, hatred, passion, malice, and jealousy. And at the base of the spine, the Muladhara chakra, we have the formation of self-consciousness and expressing itself there, desire, anger, greed, delusion. This, the formation of self-consciousness, is a result of the Shakti power concentrated into a stream of all awareness consciousness by the soul and pushed through a minute hollow channel of Brahma Nadi within and protected by Sushumna Nadi, a main corridor of balanced power and directed power. And that hollow channel he's referring to is the Sushumna Nadi, and contained within the Vajra Nadi, Tritra Nadi, and the Brahma Nadi, which is that gray color channel heading down the center of Sushumna and running through all the psychic centers. And I'll make a note of it here, but do take note of how the Christ chakra is represented in relation to the other chakras and the purpose and formation and function of the Christ chakra. These character impurities, these 20 listed here, are the buildup of energy residues from the thoughts and actions of countless reincarnations on the physical and subtle worlds. These energy residues have settled or embedded itself within the several layers of the auric bodies. The formation of man's consciousness. Within the ancient teachings of yoga, there is the science of sound, or mantra sastra, which shed some light on the formation of man's consciousness and its levels of operation. Man's consciousness on the physical and subtle planes of existence requires a manifestation of 4 distinct states of subtle sound vibrations from the soul's vehicle of consciousness, known as Kundalini. The soul of man, at the express will of the spirit, pushes the Shakti power down Sushumna into a 3.5 knot called Kundalini, which reveals its essence, Shiva, by moving into a dormant state and releasing a creative holy sound that manifests itself with 4 distinct sounds, which produces 1, various states of consciousness, 2, pranic positions, and 3, levels of operation. The 4 states of sound are known as Para sound. This is the supreme sound as pure potentiality in the divine will of the absolute arising from the union of Shiva and Shakti. And you see it represented here. As we go on the left-hand side, the evolutionary process, we go down 4, 3, 2, 1, and prana sound represented here at the lower center is unmanifested motionless sound. Then we have pasyanti sound. This is visible sound of the mental images prior to thought. This is the sound that arises from the subtle level of sound. It graduates from the first state of sound into the power of consciousness that forms the mental images prior to thought. That's number 2 here. The pasyanti sound's first movement, transference of power to a new level of operation. Right? And the transference of power, which takes place at the solar plexus center. Madhyama sound. This is the intermediate level of sound as manifested thought. It is this level, or it is the level where the visible sound pasyanti graduates to manifested thought forms with continuous motion. It is here where this level of sound builds motion before it solidifies into gross audible sound. That's here at the represented at the heart center. Madhyama sound, subtler aspect, formation of the subtle bodies. And then finally, Vaikhari sound. This is manifested sound and a gross, coarse, audible sound. This is the final step in the 4 levels of graduated sound. It is the solidification of sound in gross intelligent form. At this level, consciousness exists on several realms of existence: the casual or superconscious realm, the etheric realms, the mental realms, the astral realms, and the physical realm. And that here is illustrated at the throat center. Vaikhari sound, subtle gross aspect, thought to sound, subtle bodies subtle bodies encased by gross, the manifestation of life, to the 4th aspect of consciousness, the physical realm. Zoom out here so it's easier to see. Any questions? Check. All right. All right. So let's continue on. Again, we have the absolute, spirit, and soul on the left-hand side. And moving from left to right. The soul creates an auric body with the highest quality of Shakti power, and that's what's illustrated here. Soul pulls on the Shakti that radiates from the sun, the mighty sun, and has been modified by the Logos of Mother Earth and the moon. This modified Shakti is used by the soul to build the auric body that the soul will use to move through countless subtle and gross reincarnations. The auric body is the first manifested body of the soul to begin gaining experience in an involved state of existence. The sacral sound releases the Shakti power, a separate negative and positive flow of energies that entirely pervades the auric body of substances. The energies released from Kundalini are known as nadis, a flow of traveling positive and negative energies. These nadis form an elaborate matrix within auric's envelope, while moving in and out of the 108 chakras with the auric body of original Shakti substance. The formation of the nadi matrix or system brings about the mental body, the pranic body, the etheric body, and the astral body, and the gross physical body. Mental bodies is an aspect of the auric body that contain or made up of the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. Mental bodies is that force that molds, shapes, and puts into action the subtle pranas and gross pranas within the human body. So again, we have one, the soul creates an auric body with the highest quality of Shakti power, and it draws on the all-pervading Shakti power that radiates from endless potential. And you see that illustrated here as potential, and then that energy being absorbed and conditioned by the sun and the planets, in our case, Earth and Moon as well. 3, the soul pushes the Shakti power through and down the Brahmanadi, through the auric body. See here, and the Brahmanadi, and that white line in the center, and within the auric body. 4, the soul collects the wisdom and power of the major chakras as it passes through the Brahmanadi. So you can see that better. 5, the soul pushes the influence Shakti power, the soul lodges the influence Shakti power into the base chakra and forms a 3.5 knot. So here you have these petals here representing the Muladhara chakra, and these tunnels here representing the Sushumna Nadi and the layers of the nadis. So the layers of the Sushumna Nadi, and in the center there being the Brahmanadi. And then you have the coiled serpent representing the Kundalini and 3.5 knot configuration. And here again, illustrated on this other illustration of the orange of the aura with the Ida and Pingala intersecting, crisscrossing through the major chakras along Sushumna. Number 6, 3.5 knot is known as Kundalini power, which reveals its essence, Shiva, by moving into a dormant state and releasing a creative holy sound. And 7, Kundalini is the vehicle of consciousness of the soul. It is used by the soul to create the subtle and gross infrastructure for the consciousness. And we looked at this one, modification of the Shakti power, last time. I'll skip that one and go right to the last page. Understanding the mental and vital energies of the chakras and trigger points. The chakra, a vortex center of power, a compaction of cosmic energies. The energy components of the chakras are 1, the Bindu, the spiritual germ, originating from the all-knowledge space or source. 2, Nada, supreme subtle sound vibrations. 3, Shakti, absolute power and principles of Shakti. 4, Chitta, universal mind energies and mind substance. 5, Tattvic rays, the modes of motion, Nada Shakti, takes under karmic pressures. 6, Chakra mantra, major sound vibrations of the chakras. 7, Chakra bija, seed mantra or chakra petals. 8, Mahabhutas, the 5 cosmic elements, and 9, Prana, 5 major pranas. Nadis, a flow of subtle energies within the auric body layers of the auric fields. Nadis create a matrix of movements of subtle, vital, and mental energies. Mind energies moves 4 million times the speed of light, molds and shapes subtle and gross energies, are the fertile grounds for the seeds of consciousness. Okay, and so the triggering points for controlling subtle energies are the nadis and chakras. This is referring to the hand. We'll get to that later. So we have the major chakras, 7 majors: the crown, Christ, throat, heart, solar plexus, sex, and base of the spine, or Muladhara. The types of chakras are major chakras. They're major, minor, and minute. So 108 chakras runs of existence within the auric and subtle bodies. The nadis, which are this blue, the main, the blue and red illustrated here, as well as the neutral flow, Shumna illustrated in the center. Pingala, the red one. Ida, the blue one. And Shumna, the red and blue in the center. The Pingala nadis are positive flow, subtle energies, which is the vital energy center, vital energy in character. The Ida nadis is a negative flow, subtle energies, which is a mental energy in character. And in total, there are 242,000 nadi pathways within the auric and subtle bodies. And you can see represented here at the base is the formation of self-consciousness. And our base is the crown for the animal kingdom. Now we have the trigger points. Or we'll finish up with the trigger points, being the fingers and the hands. Now the thumb represents the earth element or tattvic pranic state of Prithivi. Its prana is apana, and its associated chakra is the base of the spine. Then we have the index finger or pointer. Its element is water. Its tattvic pranic state is apas. Its major prana is vyana, and it's associated with the sex chakra. The middle finger, using the element fire or pranic state tejas. Its major prana is samana, and associated chakra is the solar plexus chakra. The ring finger, air element is air. Tattvic pranic state is vayu. Its major prana is prana, and its associated chakra is the heart chakra. And then we have the middle, the little pinky finger. Its element is ether. Tattvic pranic state is akasa. Its major prana is udana, and its associated chakra is the throat chakra. Okay. So the final questions or comments or anything you'd like to add?
No, no.
All right, let me see if there's any questions in the chat.
You know, most of these diagrams are like 10, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, if there are no final questions, comments, then let us close today's session with reciting New Lord's Prayer. The New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, O mighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance, participation. Do remember to review Metaphysics 101 series as we're working our way through it, as well as visit our website. You can go to the ebook library and find dozens of texts and materials available for you to download and study free charge. Thank you for attending, and we will see you next time. Take care.